All right, here we go. We got NDC Edition 2, semifinal number 1. We got Hunter versus Sifflair versus Nehyzo versus Mime. And Dizrod shot calling for Mime. So all these players got through from yesterday. I believe Mime and Sifflair are our Seed 1 qualifiers, and Nehyzo and Hunter are the Seed 2 qualifiers. So a little bit of a mental game there, knowing how you got through, but we will see. Looks like we got plenty of country representation going on here. Nice to see. So our first map is going to be Unruly by Nixotica, a Gear 4 heavy map. Yep, Dizrod calling for Hunter. Did I say something else? I must have said something wrong. Oops. Anyway, here we go. Did I say mime? Jeez, okay. Alright, well, going on to the first round, we have... let's watch this from Hunter's perspective. Both Hunter and the rest going for an inside line. Nehyzo taking an outside line. Oh, Hunter touching on this. Hunter and Sifflair both touching there. Both also clipping their wheels. So let's go up and watch Nehyzo near the front, trailing Mime by just about 0.2 of a second. Mime going for a much more rounded off turn there. Nehyzo with a little bit less. He goes a bit higher, so he's 0.4 behind now. Mime taking an early lead on this first round. Looking very strong here. Just gaining a little bit more and more time away from Nehyzo at every checkpoint, it looks like. So he has a lot of momentum going through, and that's what this map is all about. Nehyzo touching, potentially? No, he did not, I don't think. Maybe he did, though. Okay, he's about a second behind. So Mime takes that first round very easily with a 56.09. Wow, very nice time by Mime. I don't think that's world record, but I think 0.04 might be world record. I'm not sure. Going to the next round, we have Nehyzo versus the rest. You see that line, he goes to the outside. It looks like Mime made a very early mistake. We see him about 0.4 behind. Don't know if he can make this up. The pace is a lot faster in this match than it was for his previous match. I'm just hearing 55.8 is world record. Okay, that's that makes sense. Now Mime is passing these other two. He's only 0.1 behind Nehyzo, so it looks like he actually has the opportunity to still get first in this round if he just pushes a little bit harder. Nehyzo's stumbling a little bit, so Mime is going to go up into that first position. Let's see if Nehyzo can. Ooh, but Mime touches on the outside, and that is a major mistake there. So Nehyzo will keep that lead, and we see Mime here taking third behind Sifflair, and Hunter all the way in the back, getting that fourth place again. Not great for him, but it was only the first 2 rounds, so he should be fine in the long run, but that will hurt him. Going on to the next round, we see Nehyzo once again going for the widest line here, Hunter taking the most shallow line, and it looks like Hunter is gonna be... No, Mime gets a very nice gear there on the exit. Looks like he got it a lot earlier than the rest, so he's going to have just a little bit more speed and move up to the front. But Hunter goes for a much wider line, driving on the outside, and he can easily use that to his advantage. But Mime, once again, getting that more rounded off circular turn in that banking. So Mime goes up in front and leads by about 0.06. Not much time, but it is enough to guarantee yourself a nice position if you hold on to it, and it's not too hard to hold on to, but with this end you have to be very careful. nehyzo making a mistake there and bumping into something. Oh, Mime also getting dragged across the map, but he still somehow beats Hunter by 4 thousandths of a second. Oh my gosh. Mime touching and getting an Excel penalty and still beating Hunter. He had such a nice lead going that it will be sufficient, and Mime is still in the lead. Let's take a look at nehyzo here. nehyzo with 20 points, only 4 points behind Mime. You know, he's doing quite well here despite making some mistakes. So we're seeing that these players all have really nice pace going on, and I think that's why we're seeing some mistakes, is a lot of them are really pushing because this is a difficult field to go against. You know, we have nehyzo, who is quite experienced now in Dirt and TM 2020. We have Hunter, who has experience in both TM 2020 and TM2 Dirt. We have Mime, who is not necessarily known for his Dirt skills, but is just an overall great player lately, playing for Taro. And we have Sifflair, who is just another great Dirt player. And we see him in the back here, though, but he was looking powerful yesterday. He comes in here today with actually a first seed, which is why it's a little bit shocking to see him now tied with that last place, whereas nehyzo, who came in here today with the second seed, is in second place with 26 points. He's leading 10 points ahead of third and fourth, so that's a decent way to come out of the first map. You know, putting a little bit of distance. Usually you'll feel comfortable once you have about, 15 or 20 points ahead of your competitors. 10 is still very easily losable, so nobody can get too comfortable yet, not even Mime, though he does have a very convincing start to this map with, I believe, only coming in third once and then having 3 first places, if I'm not mistaken. I believe that's the only way you can get 34 points out of a first map, but yeah. Going on to the second map, we have Back to the Roots by Azeroth. This map has a very technical start. As you can see, it's got very low speed in the start here, but then you want to come out of it and you start having a little bit more speed as the map goes on. You know, toward the middle it starts to get a little faster here, and then you slow down again to get over this very technical turn, where we saw it yesterday, a lot of players bumping on that inside, trying to get back onto the dirt, so hopefully that won't happen to anyone here today. And then we have this turn where a lot of people choose different lines. Some go for the outside, as you see those lines there, and others go for the inside. And yesterday it looked like the outside line was superior, but I'm not entirely sure. It really depends on which you value more, getting through it quicker or having better exit speed. But regardless, we will see here. Let's follow Hunter in this start here. Hunter right now tied with Sifflair at 16 points going into the second map. This is not great of a start for them, but it is just the first map, and you have no idea how well they are trained on these other maps, so we will see. nehyzo taking an early lead with 0.1 of a second ahead. He's not looking shabby today. He really does look like he's prepared, but he goes a little bit too far inside. Mime overtaking him, but not by much, so all 3 of these players looking like they're really good. If we go back to Sifflair, only 0.15 behind. This is a really close race. These players all driving very consistently, but nehyzo touches on the outside there, trying to go as wide as possible, and he will be out of this round. Mime leading the pack, having gained quite a bit of time in that little bit there. So let's see, will he make it? He does with a 52.5, not a bad time. Sifflair in second, getting that 6 points that he desperately needs. Hunter getting 4 points, and nehyzo only getting 3 points, so he's going to drop down just a little bit further away from Mime. Mime making a nice and healthy 15-point lead between himself and second place, so Mime is probably feeling confident in this match right now. Now going into the second round, we see Sifflair here going a little bit slower than Hunter. Hunter coming out of it with more speed, but it looks like, it didn't sound like Sifflair got that gear all that great, but Mime definitely did, so he overtakes just a little bit. And nehyzo is once again in the back of the pack, so maybe he's a little bit shaky now on this map. We see from Sifflair that he is trying to catch up to Mime. Mime is not having it though. Sifflair going for an attacking, aggressive line, but it doesn't look like it's going to be faster, but maybe. So we'll see this difference here. Sifflair going for the inside line. He's going to lose a little bit of time to Mime. Mime getting much superior exit, and it looks like it's about the same, really. So it doesn't matter who you go for, but oh, Sifflair missing the finish, and he is going to have to take the safe finish, and that's not good for him. He's probably wishing he didn't risk that hard, because he would have had 6 points instead of 3, but that's all right. He drops down now into that last place position behind Hunter, but all these players in the back, all at about around the same spot, so it's really looking like a fight for that second place. Mime really showing that he has some great composure on this match. Yesterday he looked really strong on all of these maps, and once again he's looking very strong just in this match overall. I mean, we're seeing him 0.1 ahead in the start of all the rest, but he gets a bump on the inside. Will he get overtaken? It looks like he's going to lose a little bit of speed, but not enough for it to matter. We have Hunter coming up behind him. Hunter going for an aggressive line. Let's take a look from nehyzo's perspective. nehyzo right behind him. nehyzo going for the more outside, or no, a little bit of an inside line after he starts from the outside. Kind of a median between the two there. It seems like it doesn't matter really what you do in that turn. It matters more about how you do this ending. And then Mime goes to the jump, and everyone makes it in the order that we expect. So Mime gets that first place again with a 52.5. These are really nice, consistent times. It doesn't seem like anyone's pushing too hard because we didn't see that many mistakes in that round, but it was a good race. So now it looks like I think we're moving on to the last round of this map, potentially. And let's take a look from nehyzo's perspective again. nehyzo is a little bit behind here by 0.2, between 0.2 and 0.3 with Sifflair from Mime and Hunter. Hunter dropping down a little bit more. We have Mime just leading that pack once again. He has the superior start, as we've seen multiple times now in this round, or in this match. Mime still ahead. We see nehyzo and Sifflair having their own battle. If we jump up and look at Hunter, we will see he is just neck and neck with Mime, only behind by 0.1, which he can make up. That's just a little bit difficult. Ooh, but Mime just has a superior exit. He goes the most outside there, and we see him 0.2 ahead now, and he's going to finish in first with a 52.45. Mime with really nice, consistent pace here. With those mid-52s, he is able to keep a lead, and he is already up to 74 points. I believe that's 74 out of 80 possible points. So in a semifinal, that is basically pure dominance, and he can feel really comfortable in a position like that. So now moving up into the last of the 3 maps, we have Impact by Firestorm. Possibly one of the hardest maps, but maybe not either. It depends really on what you decide. It's either this or the Azeroth map that we just saw beforehand. We see some players, both nehyzo and Sifflair, both going for the no slide strat there. Mime does not bother for it. Mime being a keyboard player, so maybe he's not going to go for it, but we will see. Mime making a mistake. Let's take a look. nehyzo will show us this map. This map is very, very, you know, flowy, and you don't break your momentum at any point, really, other than this turn right here is a bit of a break of the momentum. nehyzo going for a little rest of his hands. So anyway, let's look at this positioning right now. We have Mime, who is almost double the points of nehyzo. And nehyzo, Hunter, and Sifflair all at about the same position for points. So this really is not decided for who's going to be the second person going into the grand final. Of course, Mime isn't guaranteed yet, but when you have this sort of a lead, if you can maintain this distance, you're, you know, giving yourself about 3 or 4 free finalist chances where you don't have to worry about someone else taking your spot. So this is going to be great for Mime's mentality, and we'll see how he does on this map. Let's take a look from his perspective. He's going up here with very nice and clean lines. He takes the lead and probably using those keybinds to get that no slide there. We see Mime keeping that lead, so he did talk about before this match that he was going to be using keybinds, which is allowed. So that is a strategy that keyboard players are able to use now for dirt in this game. And it severely changes how the game can be viewed and played at this point. So we have Mime leading the pack by about 0.3. Sifflair and Hunter both dropping out with a couple of wall touches at the start there, so they're going to be in the back. We have nehyzo in the front of those two, so that's going to be good in that overall fight for second place. nehyzo's still leading the pack just by 1 point, but this will give him a little bit more distance, and that's going to help him for sure. Mime is going to keep that lead, and he gets a 1:04.07. That is a really good time. Wait, hold on a second. I want to see trackmania.io. I need to look at this. That was a very nice time. I think nobody has ever done a 103, so 1:04.07 is something else. So Mime is playing out of his mind today, really. He's in a good, well, of course, he makes a mistake, but, you know, that is a great time. We saw yesterday Elcon getting world record in the Nixotica map. Or no, it was not. It was the, I want to say it was the Azeroth map, the one we just played prior. So that's very good for him. Mime making an early mistake, and usually that will tend to happen after you've had a really good run. You start to get a little bit overzealous, and you have to regain that composure after getting such a nice time in the round prior. But nehyzo here, keeping that lead against Hunter and Sifflair. This is really what he's going to want. Being in that second seed from the previous round, he is sort of an underdog, but nehyzo has shown that he has really good pace, and maybe the reason he is that second seed is because he was against such difficult competition, being Deska yesterday. Deska being a longtime dirt player, so maybe nehyzo does have the pace to take this second position in this match. He's pulling ahead 10 points away from Hunter. Mime's PB is a 1:03.96, so he must have gotten that world record last night, I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna suppose that's the world record. Maybe it's not, but that is a very good time nonetheless. Sifflair going for the no-slide line. Mime maybe going for a no-slide line, maybe he didn't, I couldn't tell, but Mime is catching up, and it's probably because he didn't go for that over that penalty dirt, so he will have more speed. And like Insanity has said, it is pretty easy. If you're consistent, you can drive pretty close to your PBs all the time in this game, because there's not much going on to fight against you. Back in Trackmania 2, there was a lot of bumps and stuff that could get in your way, but now it's very easy to be consistent. So Mime makes a mistake. Sifflair keeping the gear. nehyzo keeping the gear. We have nehyzo trailing behind Sifflair. Sifflair, I don't think he's ever gotten a first place on any of these rounds yet. I'm not entirely sure, but he's at 43 points, so if he can carry this through and get a first place, this is going to be great for him. Sifflair coming in first with a 1:04.3. That is a very good time to get in rounds. nehyzo with a 1:04.4. All pretty close times. Hunter just barely getting beat out by Mime by 0.02 of a second. So Hunter probably getting a little bit annoyed here, sitting at the back of the pack with 48 points. That's not something you want to have, but he will be okay as long as he can keep that pace up. We see that he is only 13 points behind nehyzo, so you know, it's anyone's game still, with just a couple of denials of finalists or changing your pace just a little bit. Oh, and it looks like Sifflair makes a mistake on the inside, so Sifflair is out of it. Hunter can easily get third place here, if not better, but Hunter actually touches, so he's going to be out of it and might get last, so Caster's Curse, I guess. Meanwhile, we have Mime up in front. Mime super powerful this entire match, and he is likely to go up and break that 100-point barrier. And if he can maintain this composure, he can get finalist in just a couple more rounds here, and he will easily place himself into the grand final. Mime rounding this last corner here, going on the outside. nehyzo playing it safe, just wants to get those points to keep himself distanced from that third place, and he gets into that second place. Mime with the 1:04.6, a very easy time to get if you're one of these players, but that's exactly what he did, and that's all he needed for that round, so very good from him. And let's just look back. I'm going to check out and see what the time was. Let's see. Wow, so we saw Mime drive a 104.07. That's actually the second in the world, held by Deska, 104.07, and Mime has a 103.96, driven an hour ago. So yeah, he's definitely been practicing, and he is feeling hot right now for sure. So I think we cannot place any doubt on Mime at all in this match. However, I do want to point out that we also have... So in second, third, and fourth place is Deska, Dizrod, and Elcon. Those are all players we'll be seeing in the next match. Then we have in fifth, sixth, and seventh, nehyzo, Hunter, and Sifflair, all in this match. And then in eighth, we have Nako, who is in the match that is coming up right after this. So the top 8 is held by the top 8 in this competition, which should be no surprise. But yeah, it's good to see that all these players are, you know, quite well trained, but the distance between all these players is 103.96 by Mime, but 104.5 by Nako. So there is something to be said about that 0.5 of a gap between first through eighth. You see Sifflair with an early mistake here as we go into the second time on this map, Unruly by Enisato, the Gear 4 map, where you are going to just stay in Gear 4 the entire time if you're fast enough. Let's go up and look at Mime's position here. He is, well, he's going right ahead of nehyzo and Hunter here, so maybe we'll watch from nehyzo's perspective yet again. nehyzo always going a little bit higher there. He goes from, yeah, he always just loses a little bit of time because Mime goes for a more circular approach in that turn. So Mime really keeping the pace here. Mime once again looking strong. He's at 101 points ahead of nehyzo at 67, so he has a strong dominant lead here, and Mime looks like he's going to get another first place, and oof, he will with a 55.97. Wait, hold on a second. Okay, 55.97, we have a 55.8, so that is like a top 3 or 4 in the world time, it looks like. So that is a very nice time from Mime, who is just playing, like I said, out of his mind today. He really looks like he's going to be a strong contender for the grand final. But then again, we have so many strong players in the next match that we will see who goes through, and, you know, he might struggle against some other players. It looks like he is strong against these 3, but, you know, in the next match, who knows can go through. So we have nehyzo here, going for that circular line a little bit more, so he's going to keep pace with Mime. Losing it a little bit, it looks like nehyzo's going for less of a direct approach, and Mime gets that way more outside, so he's going to look really good through that turn. Let's go back and look at Hunter and Sifflair. Hunter stumbling a little bit, so actually nehyzo is catching up a little bit. It looks like Mime made a slight mistake. He may have gotten a bit of a bump, and it looks like nehyzo's going to have a superior line coming into this. nehyzo is going to be overtaking Mime, but Mime has a better line going into the end. So let's see who has it. Mime has more speed, and Mime goes through and gets a 56.13 to get that first place. Mime goes into finalist mode. So if he wins this next round, all he has to do is win one more round, and he will get into the grand final. Let's see, can he do it? Let's watch from his perspective. Mime going over this bump, going for the most inside line. He quickly goes into a no slide, and then he goes back, getting a late gear, so he's gonna lose just the tiniest bit of speed, but he is in the lead, so he will be fine with that. Mime being in first, holding it by just a little bit under 0.1 of a second. Both Hunter and Sifflair just behind him, only 0.1 behind. nehyzo is completely out of this round, so he can't do anything to stop Mime. Mime is in first. Let's look at Hunter's perspective. Hunter is right behind him, but Mime has a very good lead. Hunter is 0.2 behind Mime, so Mime, all he has to do is relax and take this last turn and get through, and Mime will make it into the grand final. GG. With a 55.9. Very nice time to end it with. Mime is looking absolutely powerful in this match, and he has to hope to keep that momentum going into the grand final, which will be happening about an hour and a half from now. So can he hold on to that momentum and keep that mentality for that long? We will see. Hunter going for that inside line, and we have 82 to 68 to 64, so nehyzo is looking pretty good to set himself up for that second spot into the grand final, but it's not really set in stone yet. You know, before he had Mime getting in the way, stopping him and others from getting those 10 pointers. Now nehyzo has the opportunity to pull ahead a little bit more if he can get 10 points, but it also gives the others an opportunity to pull ahead and get into those good positions. nehyzo touching and making a mistake. Hunter making another mistake. So nehyzo can easily take this victory on this round, and he goes up to 92 points. Mime is saying he has a storm near him. Everyone prayed for Mime, because he was looking fantastic in this match. So he should be very good for the next match if he hopefully makes it through and weathers the storm. Mime throwing finals, yeah. So let's see, what is the top time? On Back to the Roots, we have a 52.2 by Dizrod, 0.20 by Dizrod, 0.22 by Mime, 0.27 by Hunter, and 0.29 by Elcon. The 0.29 driven by Elcon was actually driven in the match yesterday. For those of you who haven't seen it, it's up on my YouTube channel. If you want to go back and watch those afterwards, I will also be uploading the semifinals and the grand final on my YouTube channel for safekeeping. So make sure to go there and subscribe if you haven't, just to keep up to date on some highlights from the matches. We have nehyzo trolling a little bit. So let's look at this. nehyzo at 92 points. He needs to win at least 4 more. If he wins all 4 of these rounds in Back to the Roots, he will go through. If he doesn't, then we'll be going on to the next map, which will be Impact by Firestorm. So let's see. Can he keep this lead against Sifflair with 74 and Hunter with 68? Hunter and Sifflair are quite close to each other in the points, but nehyzo has got a good lead here. He can really just try to risk it all here and keep his lead and try to get through as quickly as possible. But it's not over and out for him. He has, you know, a decent advantage here with points, but he has no real nothing stopping him from getting overtaken by Sifflair and Hunter at this point, because Mime is out of there, so 10 pointers are free and up for grabs for any of these players. Hunter and Sifflair both getting a little bit slower of a line. nehyzo going for a very aggressive direct approach there. nehyzo, though, going for a more inside line, and he could make a little bit of a mistake, and Sifflair actually touches on the outside. Hunter and nehyzo are going against each other, and Hunter getting another mistake, so nehyzo, all he has to do is make it into the finish, and he will barely with a 52.85. Very good for nehyzo there, getting the 10 pointers, and that's exactly what he's going to need if he wants to stick around for the grand final. He's up to 102 points, 22 points ahead of Sifflair. That's a whole 2-round difference between him and Sifflair, so nehyzo is probably feeling hot right now, knowing that he can go into the grand final Last edition of NDC, he was just shy of it, and this time it's looking very good for him, so he has to be feeling super good about this. Let's take a look from Sifflair's perspective. Sifflair going for that inside approach that he always does. Sifflair looking really hot in the last match from yesterday. Yesterday we saw from Sifflair he was looking really nice. He actually beat Elcon going into this match, so he is the #1 seed. So he has to be feeling a little bit weird being so far behind nehyzo, probably feeling a little bit of a lack of confidence now, so he's gonna have to turn something around if he wants to make it into the grand final and beat out nehyzo. And a comeback is entirely possible, but we'll have to see. So Hunter actually passing nehyzo in the end. So Hunter getting those 10 points. nehyzo was 6 and Sifflair was 4. So Hunter is going to really like that. Now the gap between him and Sifflair is only 2 points. And nehyzo now no longer can win on this map. So he will have to make, you know, something happen on Impact by Firestorm after this. Sifflair with an early lead. He gets the good gear. He's going to be just slightly ahead of nehyzo. He goes for a really tight line there. Very good from Sifflair. Sifflair going for this nice outside turn. Let's see what nehyzo does. nehyzo keeping up with Sifflair, only 0.08 behind. It looks like Sifflair's going to have the better approach there, but nehyzo only 0.08 behind still, so it's just about even through that turn despite the slightly difference in their lines. Hunter, though, is not out of it. Hunter is just right there, crawling along, trying to pass nehyzo. If they both end up passing nehyzo, this would not be good for him. He's going to go down and lose some points. So Hunter going for that aggressive inside line, and it looks like Hunter barely passes nehyzo in the end. So Sifflair getting a good time with that 52-4. Hunter with a 52-7. And nehyzo getting only 4 points in that round. So nehyzo could only go up into finalist if he gets first in this round. If not, then this is going to be a great series of denials by Sifflair and Hunter. Sifflair going really far outside. He's going to lose a lot of time there. Hunter trying to get back into the groove of things, passing nehyzo. nehyzo probably feeling a little bit of the pressure, but Hunter touches on the outside, so let's look from Sifflair's perspective. We got Hunter out of it now. nehyzo going for an aggressive line, but Sifflair keeps the speed there and the gear. But nehyzo, again, always having just a little bit more speed. It's almost tactical, losing his speed in that position where he goes just a little bit more outside, losing some of that time just to regain it in the future. So nehyzo is looking good, but nehyzo going for that inside line. It looks like Sifflair is going to have much more speed. Can Sifflair pass nehyzo? nehyzo going for the more inside line. nehyzo has it by 0.08 of a second. Very, very slow times on this round. I'll be honest here, but that puts nehyzo into the finalist position, and this is great for nehyzo. He has to be both a little bit nervous, but also comfortable because he is now 20 points ahead of Sifflair, and Sifflair will have to get the best Sifflair can do is win 3 rounds in a row. And he can get this from nehyzo, but Hunter would need 4 rounds in a row. And if Sifflair, you know, makes any sort of mistakes, Hunter would have to take the denial, and Sifflair would need to do 4 rounds in a row. So, regardless, Sifflair needs to win 3 rounds here. And if I remember correctly, Sifflair didn't look all that strong on this map, so maybe he won't be comfortable with it. However, yesterday against Elcon, he was quite good on this map, so I guess it truly just depends how well prepared he is, and can he keep that mentality and that composure against a player who has been so strong as nehyzo in this match. So we will see. Let's take a look at Hunter as well. Oops, Hunter, you know, kind of been an underdog in this match, and Elcon raiding with 67 people. Hello, Elcon. good luck in your match coming up. But right now we are looking at nehyzo, who is a finalist, Sifflair with 100 points, and Hunter with 92. So this is live right now. If nehyzo wins this, he goes through into the grand finals. Mime has already made it through earlier, and nehyzo going for that inside approach. Sifflair also trying to go for a nose slide, but it doesn't look like it really pays off. He's going to have slightly more speed than nehyzo, but in the long run, oh, that turn, very risky from Sifflair. We have nehyzo just a little bit ahead, and nehyzo will hold onto it barely, but Sifflair touches, and this looks so good for nehyzo right now. Hunter 0.25 behind. Hunter is going to be desperately trying to catch up, but it looks like nehyzo is going to be strong and holding on to that lead here. Nehyzo with a bit of a victory here. If he can hold on to this, it looks like Hunter has a little bit more speed though. nehyzo might have lost the gear. So Hunter, he can actually go into this. He's only 0.06 behind. Hunter going for that more aggressive approach. nehyzo losing some speed. nehyzo goes behind, and Hunter takes it from nehyzo with a 104.5. And Hunter saving Sifflair from that terrible mistake he made earlier in that round. So an absolute choke from nehyzo. Sifflair now at 104 points, Hunter at 102. So nehyzo is not safe yet. He still has two strong competitors fighting against him for this spot, and they're not going to let him get away with this that easily. Hunter, oh, with a very bad approach there. It looks like he's going to be out of it. Sifflair getting yet another chance. He's going to be seeing that number 2 on his car, probably feeling a little bit worried. He goes way outside, and he barely touches there. I thought he was going to flip, but Sifflair holding on to it. Not in a great position, though. He is not in the right gear. nehyzo is, though, so Sifflair going into that gear up, he's going to lose some time on nehyzo, so Hunter looking the best here to overtake nehyzo. nehyzo only 0.2 ahead, so he can lose it again like he did in the last round, but it is entirely possible that he will hold on to this. Listening to the gears, it looks like Hunter and nehyzo and Sifflair all held onto it, so it's looking good. Can nehyzo hold on to this? All he has is one more turn. He's taking it very carefully, and if nehyzo can make this jump, he will go on to the grand finals. GG. Great job from nehyzo there throughout the entire match. And now we have Mime and nehyzo going into the grand final. Hunter and Sifflair both tied at 108 points. So what a round. What a match. That was very good from all the players all around. Very good job. So now